Hello, hello. Welcome everybody to the Digital Third. You are watching episode, I think 4 or 5. I'm losing track now. It's been a busy week, but we have an amazing one for it. We have Niccolò Miranda with us talking about everything about Webflow, design, AI. It's going to be really fun, and he's going to share about his process, and we're going to have a good, intimate time. So as always, grab a coffee, grab a tea, sit back, relax, enjoy. If you have any questions, make sure you ask it in the chat. And we're going to get into it. If you want to listen to us while you're on the go, we do have all the episodes on a podcast now. So just search The Digital Third on Spotify or anywhere else, and it'll be fun. So without further ado, let's welcome Niccolò Miranda. What's up, my friend?
Hey, my friend. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Can I grab a beer? It's like 6:30 p.m. to me. Maybe
you know what? Sure, let's do that.
Yeah, I'm going to go downstairs later.
Okay, no worries. You know what? Let's for those who don't know you, and shame on them because they should. How about you tell me a little bit of who you are, what you do, what you're known for, who you work for, all that good stuff.
Sure. I'm Niccolò Miranda. I'm Italian originally. Right now, at the moment, I live in Amsterdam, Netherlands, beautiful city of Amsterdam. Mm-hmm. I'm focused on like creative direction, interactive design, visual development, a lot of things, I guess, maybe too much. 5 years ago, I started my career basically as a joke, and my process was like basically aching like to newborns like first days into the world, like grasp the value of like envision in general, like the end result. So trying to understand like before the end, trying to see what actually you can achieve with web. And so I basically like step back from there and learning basically in the other way around. And this allows me like to learn faster, to understand like better how the community works. And I basically put myself inside like design communities, like such as Awards. That for me is like my friends, my dear kind friends. I right now I like also like a teacher there. I recently like joined also like the WebD Awards panel. And fast forward like to the present, my journey comes from like UX UI. I step inside like 3D design, then 3D development, and right now like I'm more than happy actually like to learn everything about the realms of like Web3, VR, AR, also like spatial computing. I think it's like the future. I think that every one of us should basically, like go there, step forward, and try and like to be as best they can, because actually like our industry evolving so fast. And I think that right now is like the moment to learn all that tools, all that like, skills. And yeah, in general, like my method is quite there. Recently, I had like the chance to work with amazing clients. I worked for Kanye West project, Roger Federer. I was for Prada, Gucci, for e-commerce site. Right now, I don't know if I can say that. I'm working for like a Bill Gates company. Incredible project. I'm super excited like to share with the world. And so yeah, that
is amazing. You do everything. Before I like getting, I want to ask like how you got started, how you like the mindset of how you adopted all these new technologies, and because like that's just so fascinating. You're definitely a very, very accomplished designer. So I mean, we've been friends, but I'm still so honored to have you on, and I really appreciate your time. I want to share. I just want to prop you up a little bit more. So this is your website, right? Niccolò Miranda. This is beautiful with a lot of animations here. This is built on Webflow. And yeah, like walk me through this. How old is this site now? I think it's over a year or so.
I think a couple of years. So I launched in October 2021, and I probably like re-enter in a website probably a couple of times because I know that. Yes, I just re-enter like for update like works, but I cannot see it. It's every work I do, I know I threw up every time. It's very weird. I'm seeing right now like it probably like after like months, but yeah.
No, it's beautiful though. It's so good. I love this editorial layout, and the interactions is amazing. So what
This
you
one have
have
like
WebGL in here?
like yeah, there's like WebGL on the page transitions and just that. The rest of the site
Okay.
is basically like built in Webflow, and I inject like JavaScript to create like more. For example, like this like anchor like position that you have is
Yep.
like due on Webflow. Sorry, due like in JavaScript, so I inject like JavaScript instead. This like page have like a
Insane.
kind of like a fun story because actually the paper portfolio is supposed to be like initially kind of like a bookshelf. So I start to design
Okay.
like an accordion in Figma, and then for a mistake I rotated, and then basically
Oh,
just came out, and that's the idea where I come from. Yeah,
happy accidents. Yeah.
yeah, like usual accidents where like great stuff like comes from, I guess.
That is so good. So, okay, you've been featured on awards. You have a masterclass with awards right now, which I want to share over here. Ah, man, the presentation of this is amazing. Yeah, and this was just last year or like 6 months ago.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, like maybe you can share a little bit about the masterclass. Walk me through the whole process of promoting it.
sure. It's a very big masterclass. We basically work through anything that concerning defining a big visual strategy, and then so basically like understand reference, how you can like create like a project brief, how you can starting to communicate in the good way with clients, setting up everything about Google Drive, Notion, and starting like the best conversation. I think, and I realized this like through years, that a great project not comes just like from creativity or resources that you can have, or maybe how much skill do you have, but comes from mostly also like from communication. Most of like digital things are out there, they're struggling with like succeed in projects
Mm,
because they don't know really how to communicate, and they think that it's like a secondary thing, when I think instead that it's like actually a very important thing that you should actually like manage with the client, and trying to be as much organized as possible, because if the client initially like realize that, I think it also like from like a creative perspective, you feel like more comfortable, you feel like more calm, and so you start actually like the visual strategy in a whole new way where that actually like client trust you, and so you set
mm.
yourself like a whole new way. And then we step inside like the design phase, UX, UI, mood boarding, sitemap,
Wow,
but
it's like everything.
yeah, it's like everything, but the visual mood board part is actually like 2 weeks.
Okay.
And incredibly, I realized that, for example, like all the 40 students that I have inside the master, I have two classes, class A and class B.
Hmm.
We have like Q&A session like every week. I send feedback, so they actually like have assignment every week. I send like feedback to their assignments through like Loom videos. And then I realized that actually like most of the people basically doesn't want to put like enough effort inside the first part of any project, so the visual strategy, and that's actually where the lacks come from.
Mm,
Because the more ideas you actually like gather inside the UX pillars, inside visual mood board, the more actually you can create like produce great results. So the more knowledge you have, the more great result you can produce. But this
gotcha.
comes from also like any knowledge that we have from like not just like design perspective, but like a visual arts,
Hmm.
architecture, sculpture, painting, gaming is crazy. I mean, like recently it's kind of like a very great source of inspiration to me.
Gaming.
I was
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
It's crazy. I'm not like a very like huge nerd gamer, but I actually like started like to buy games because I realized that it's great for inspiration, like 3D environments and UI and UX.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you are like such a a sharp study of like architecture, different forms of art, and it seems like you just pull from all these different like desperate areas of expertise and you bring them all together. Um, yeah, walk me through that mindset of like curiosity and like how did you even start to be curious on all these different areas instead of just like staying in one specific area?
Um, I'm a curious, like usually like as a person, I'm curious like with like almost like everything.
Mm,
But I understood from the beginning that be that's a great question. I mean, like in my opinion, like be a designer, just not like understand design.
mm-hmm,
I think that any one of us that you are a designer, developer, like art director, or even product manager, I think that we need to have like a little bit of like knowledge on everything, because if you want to have success, you need to have that.
Mhm.
Take this example, for example, I started a project and a product manager doesn't know like anything about like WebGL. So
Mhm.
in the way that actually like she had task inside like Notion, for example, or maybe like in Asana for the client,
Mhm.
we need to have like always back and forth in terms of like communication, because she lacked on that or he lacked on that. So I think that having like a good perception and of like different like cards, also
Mhm.
like project management, for example, or like WebGL, can give you like enough wiggle room to make sure that your brain can basically store and process information in the way that can produce better ideas, not better result. Then result is actually
Mhm.
just practice. I mean, anyone can use Figma, but anyone can use Webflow, but how you can push the boundaries of design. Because, for example, you can say that, let's say that you just started, in my opinion, like basically like TikTok, like influencer do, they just like copy exactly like a
Right.
viral video, because they know that actually like when they copy and they redo it, probably they're going to end up with like a viral video again.
Right.
So what is not different from the beginning, but the point is that as soon basically you copy everything, that you need to basically put yourself into it and trying to keep up, trying to like improve actually the final result. And you do that by having probably like, you know, more experience, better communication, a better like knowledge about like different visual arts. That's for sure.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of viral videos, I gotta pull up. You went viral on the Realism Design League, so I gotta pull up this episode here. So this is the one you came for. You won third place against Grace Walker, and it was sponsored by 776. Is one of their portfolio companies, Angel City. So this is a soccer themed one. Yeah, I want to get a recap of your thoughts on
It was a
yeah,
great.
particularly this okay, you had 3 matches and this was the third one, and each time you got better and better. So walk me through kind of the process of like yeah, like going through the Realism Design League.
The first thing that I actually like I love about that review is not because you are my friend, but because I really love how you actually like hosted this game. Is crazy how you set up like, you know, sound effect and how you manage like the rhythm of everything. It's honestly I really appreciate that. I'm super grateful that you guys invited me.
Oh,
And
our pleasure.
yeah, I mean, like the game was great. I mean, all the three games was great. I was like a little bit like not probably like focused when I played um, with um, with Joseph Berry.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the game with Grace was amazing. And 30 minutes is really like nothing. So it's where actually you can see a very like a designer, or maybe like that have like a lot of practice, that can practice every day, you
Mm,
know. So in 30 minutes is very difficult, because yes, you can use Figma, but at the same time you need to be creative, you need to understand the pitch, you need to use the assets, you need to
right.
use colors. And in 30 minutes, like starting from like zero, almost zero wireframes, trying like to improve the wireframes, trying to understand the navigation, and then like put all these things together is very hard.
Yeah,
But
so this one we're watching was your first time round against Joe Moore, right? And both of you guys were struggling quite a bit because it's like your first experience, right? And like no one builds websites in half an hour. So yeah, walk me through this one, and then yeah, like the one against Joseph Barry.
I
You
don't
got
want to lie. I mean, before like probably the match, I exercised for probably like 3 4 hours,
right, right.
trying to see
Wow.
basically like the previous league and trying to understand how I, you know, build my method in order like to create something more advanced.
Hmm.
So starting from the basics, from the wireframes, and then trying to improve the wireframes, like rearrange it maybe from like a tab slider, maybe you know, create something more like interactive, more fun, and trying like to explain it to the judges.
Right.
Um, and then, you know, put things together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We put you through the ringer for sure because not only did you have to like design in a crazy amount of time, but then you had to present it too. So like you had
yeah,
to have the presentation in mind and how you're going to tell the story. Um, Yeah, I enjoyed every match that you were in, especially this one with Joseph Berry with the Juice Labs.
Yeah.
It was so colorful. I remember you totally forgot that it was what is it like an
Uh,
e-commerce or something,
yeah.
and yeah, and so you forgot some assets or something like that. But yeah,
No,
it was pretty
I
funny.
just I just didn't use like product images because I didn't understand that was like an e-commerce.
Right,
Uh,
right.
because I was more focused basically on like designing and wireframing and stuff, and I just like didn't see it.
Yeah.
you know,
No,
yeah,
it was so fun to watch.
yeah.
Amazing.
Well, that was like probably like the hardest game of the three for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Joseph is a friend. We talk about this later, and yeah, we laugh on it for sure.
Awesome. So good. Okay, guys. Let's just. I want to welcome some of the people here. We have Anto. Good to see you, Chloe. We have Felixander, Priya, Dale. Good to see you guys. Have any questions? Yeah, just ask in the chat. Okay, yeah. I just wanted to cover your thoughts on that, but okay. When did you get into design and when did you get into Webflow? Like, have you always been in this industry, or you stumbled upon it?
Yeah, yeah. I did waiter before. If that
Okay.
counts.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean like I studied computer science in the university,
Okay. This is in
but
Italy.
actually, yes,
Okay.
and it was like not like in a big city like Milan and stuff. So let's say that like the preparation wasn't like, let's say
Humble
Oxford.
beginnings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's say like MIT. It wasn't say like MIT. So
Yeah.
like yeah, reached like the third year. I said, okay, if I want to do something, probably I need to do something for myself. And one of the professor actually like suggest me something very very interesting, and I will never forget that phrase that
Mm,
said, if you want to success in your life and in your career, what you need to do is like taking like your preparation at university, college, whatever, and then mix it with something that you really like, because
mm,
you will going to wake up like every morning like loving what you're doing, and you're going to like push effort and commitment more than anyone else. And so I asked myself that thing, and I always like basically I say that I always like being like a creative person in a way,
mhm.
but don't give me like a pencil because I will never, I cannot like sketch anything. I'm very bad with like pencil and print stuff.
Mm.
uh, but incredibly I realized that a friend of my friend needed like a website. I finished the university, so I did it as a joke. I say, okay, let me try. So I used like Squarespace as my first
Okay.
schema. I never did a website before.
Okay.
Incredibly, it turns out that I was like really good. So I learned
Interesting.
from there like every day, and I thought that okay, that probably was like I was born for. Maybe
Mm.
something can change now. For sure, like um, our industry is evolving, so probably what we consider today website, maybe I was thinking like this yesterday, probably like in 10 years maybe
Okay.
going to be something else. I mean, I was like reading something like the other day that, I mean, like in a couple of years, we are going to navigate website not like anyone anymore, like with through like a cursor, like a mouse, but maybe by saying something. So it's going to be like AI power driven.
Right.
Um, we can, for example, like integrate AI through like machine learning and NLP, to make sure that the layout change based on your geographical position. So let's say like in India, for some reason they like more like the red. In Europe, we like more the green.
Mm.
The layout and the colors can change. Um, Spatial computing. I mean, like the introducing of like VR, AR, and I think that is going to change everything about our industry, and I'm really looking for like to learn like more for sure.
So that's where you see the future of web is going, right? Like 3D is almost going to be the standard, you
Yeah, I
think?
think so.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think so. I think that in 10 years we're not going to navigate anymore like website with like
Hmm.
as we do today. Um,
Interesting.
I think we're going to navigate it like in a completely new way through obviously like face recognitions, um,
Hmm.
hand recognition, audio recognition. I think it's going to be completely different. Maybe we don't call it like anymore like website. Maybe we are going to call it spatial website.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Well, okay, then I mean that you're very well versed in code and playing with like JavaScript and WebGL and all the 3D tools. Do you think there will still be space for no coders, or if if we're taking it to AR and VR, do we require knowing code and to push the limits and all that?
Absolutely, 100%. People think that AI is going to like replace jobs.
Hmm.
Yes, a few of them for
Yeah.
sure, but
Yeah.
not everyone. And I think that if you don't know how to use AI,
Hmm.
obviously AI will replace you.
Hmm.
But if you're trying to understand how you can use AI to improve what you know and to actually like learn more, that is going to be educational and not just a tool.
Mm.
So I think that that's something that every one of us should do. I wouldn't complain about this. I would probably like trying to understand how we can use AI to actually have superpowers.
Okay,
And I
so
realized that, yeah.
does this play towards no coders as well, or do you think people are required to know code to like survive in the future?
No, because actually, if you think about Unity, for example, I mean, you can create like an AR like model like in minutes if you know how to do
Mm.
that. You still need to basically like use, for example, like Python or maybe JavaScript. So as today, like Webflow exists to create website, in a
Hmm.
few years, maybe we have something else that do the same. So I think that the visual development will always exist.
Mm.
We just need to understand how we can tweak that and how we can push the boundaries. For example, initially when I started to use Webflow, having not being like a great coder, I'm not still like a great coder today, but I know how everything works and I know how to make things together.
Hmm.
And so I learned immediately that actually, if you use Webflow as just like a visual tool, that's completely fine, but everyone else can do it. So my question initially was like, how can I create like an interactive website, having like a low budget when I start, but having like a great result? So I understood that through Webflow you can inject custom code, and if you have like knowledge about code, then you can create great result and great website. So I think it's the same for like AI, for like any other like devices, or new way on how we should like develop
Mm.
website experience and web experience. I think it's the same.
Got it. Yeah, I want to pull up some of your projects here. I know this uses the purity of noise here. It uses 3D.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one is also like is reacting to sound. So it was my first project, probably like in WebGL,
Yeah.
where I also like used actually like sound recognition.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, how do I turn off the sound here?
This
I don't know if you guys can
is
hear.
where, like, yeah, you know that product, right?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna close that. It's a little loud.
Yeah,
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, okay, fantastic. Um, so many other questions I want to ask you. Okay, where I'm curious about like your environment. What's your workflow? Do you have a typical routine that get you into the flow, or is it always different every time? Like what's that like? Like what's your usual routine? Do you have a routine to like getting you into the workflow, or it just depends?
not really.
Yeah.
You mean for my life routine or
Yeah,
my work?
yeah. Just getting you into work and thinking through like your creative process from like the concepting to then implementation. Like maybe walk me through those steps or like how you think, because I want to get behind the mind of the genius.
Absolutely. Yes, he's always the same. But I try like every time I build a project, I'm trying like to raise up the level of the process
Okay,
of steps. So I always like start from like a roadmap.
okay,
Then I do like UX pillars where I define keywords. For example, right now like through AI, so I define like keywords. So let's say for example, like you have like a project about climate change.
mm,
um, you basically I define keywords, for example, like innovative, scalable, like sustainable, for example. Then
mm,
I derivate like description. For that description, I have keywords that I highlight inside. From those keywords, I actually like derivate ideas like visual reference that are not completely related to like website.
mm.
um, because that specifically like UX pillars are what actually like bring the design something like unique, like a unique set, something that actually you recognize. Then
Okay.
with visual mood board, I've actually like study any like website reference about components 404, navigation elements, design elements, interaction, grid layout, um, assets, textures, patterns, like everything that is part of a website. And I start basically like to gather all these ideas.
Mm.
And when I have that, I actually like all the pieces of the puzzle to put together, and then basically like end up with like a first, say, like look and feel, design direction.
Okay.
If I'm quite like good with that, probably I carry on. If I'm not like happy with that, I
Mm.
will like step like back always like to the visual mood board, because it means that something is missing.
Okay.
So that's usually what I follow. And then like all the other steps, so look and feel, um, UI concept. I really like love to not create just like normal wireframes. What I do is actually like create something like more complex, imagine something
Hmm.
that mix up like sitemap and wireframes,
Okay.
plus like any information. So on any actually section of the website, any part of the website, I explain easing, time, description, additional notes. So it's on the storyboard design architecture that I like to call it like that, where I define any web complexity.
Mm.
uh, because I'm not like the usual kind of guy that basically like start to design and then starting to understand the complexity. But I love to do this first, because that is going to affect also the performances of the website. We need to understand what kind of tools you need to use, what kind of languages, what kind of frameworks. And based on the fact on the transition, for example, on the page transition, if you use WebGL, if you use WebGL, all these things can change. And so it's really there actually where probably is like uh, not the secret of my work, but actually where is, you know, um, uh, something very, very, very defined, something very
Mm.
detailed. I saw most of the times that, for example, like the students that I have on the masterclass, they're really struggling like to take time on that as well. The visual mood board, they think that is like more like a secondary thing,
Okay.
when actually is like where
That's the
actually you should.
main.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you curate all the ingredients for the good work, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because if you have like enough visual reference and ideas from the visual mood board, and then on the storyboard design architecture, you have like the UX functionality and the UX architecture with everything like already set up to
Mm.
basically start the development, then you have done.
Mm.
Because you just need to basically like mix up the thing together. That is basically like UI UX.
Got it. Okay, so for those who are as experienced, like I can imagine they're putting together a mood board and it's kind of like a rough version. They just put together some stuff that inspires them. And then as they go down through the process and build out the UX or interactions, they discover, oh, I'm actually missing a type of inspiration for this interaction. I need to go back to the mood board and fill it again. So do you think there's kind of like that iterative process? And I'm curious for you, do you do everything all up front with the mood board and then clarify it, identify it, and then you just work off of it, or is it do you go back to kind of iterate and
That's
reinform
a great
that
question.
mood board? Yeah.
That's a great question. Uh, Depends on the project for sure.
Okay.
Uh, I think depends on the complexity of the project. There is sometimes that are struggling with it, so I go back and forth continuously between like
Okay.
visual mood board and storyboard design architecture.
Hmm.
Other times, no, I just like move forward. But maybe it's because maybe like a similar project that I did before. I'm realizing that
Mm.
when you have like a complete project that you never did before, like a
Right.
team project, for example, like sustainability or maybe social responsibility. I never did that before. Right now, I'm doing that.
Hmm.
I had to spend like, for example, like 1 week more um, to do that. I think that every project is different, every client is different,
Mm.
and I think that also you are different when actually you face like a new project. It depends also about your like motivation, your stress, how many projects you're working on.
Yeah.
For example, if you take me, don't take me as an example. For
Yeah.
example, because I'm working on too many things. Um, but
how
yeah,
how many projects are you balancing right now, or on average, like two or three or more?
uh, if my clients like listen this, probably they're going to fire me.
Okay. All
uh,
right. All right. You don't have to.
four.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right. So you're balancing all this. Okay, that's great. Thanks for sharing. How do you manage between projects in terms of scheduling? Do you have a typical like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I focus on project X, Y, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Z? Is there a fixed schedule? Are you very, because you seem to be a very systematic, process driven guy. And I
Sure.
love that. That's great. So I can only assume that your schedule's something like that as well. Is that true?
That's a good question. Also, I'm a very scheduled guy. I'm a very organized guy. But
Yeah.
in terms of like routine,
Yeah.
so let's say that when I make it that simple, when I see when I realize that I'm actually like out of energies, I
Mm,
stop. Like I
okay.
stop also like half an a, or maybe I go out for like a dinner, maybe like a workout things on like a Wednesday,
Mm,
because I just like probably like need to stop. I'm seeing that when actually it's I'm going too slow.
okay.
Uh, you know,
So you
I'm
feel it
managing like,
out.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But in general, like my for example, like I'm not like a morning routine. I'm not like a 5 a.m.
No?
guy like
Okay.
you, Josh. I'm not. So, like what we talked yesterday. I'm not like a no. Even probably because I'm Italian. I don't know. But
Okay. What does
probably
that
like
mean? Italians sleep in?
yeah. I mean, Italians like sleep
Okay.
on probably like 9 a.m. I mean, like
Okay. That's
it's
good.
normal. I don't know. I mean, like I wake up around like probably like 7:38. I have like the usual like my like jam like morning routine is based on like scrambled eggs and avocado. Like a smoothie, that
Nice.
can give you like the right like boost energy for my day. I'm not like
Hmm.
bread and Nutella at the morning, or
Nice.
I'm very, for me, like breakfast is very important. It looks like that having like good breakfast, like a very healthy breakfast,
Mm,
give me energy all along the day, and I can like still also, like work maybe like after dinner if I need to. Um, and then yeah, I work out, I meditate a bit. I'm not like a great like gym guy. I do like more like workout in a park.
yeah.
I skate a
Nice.
lot. I do kickboxing.
Oh,
Um,
nice. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you're
I'm
active.
kind
Yeah,
of
I
like
think
an
that
old guy.
helps. It
Yeah,
balances the screen time and off screen time, and
yeah.
yeah, you can just
I mean,
almost clear your head. You need to, right? You're like diving deep,
you
doing deep work. You need to just, stress, relieve that stress.
Yeah, exactly. There is like sometimes that, for example, like my mother every time say, "Yeah, but you work a lot. You should like work out more." But when you actually like work like 12 hours a day, yes, you can wake up like 1 hour before in the morning, but you need to know that one hour is going to change basically your day.
Yes.
So it depends on the cases. So I like to do this like during the weekend. I have more time. For example, when we finish this, I'm going to basically like have a run,
Nice.
probably. So I'm trying like to keeping up and managing my time, just like to stay sharp as possible, but also like to remember that obviously life is not just work. So I just like
Yep.
work because I love what I'm doing, and
Yeah.
I want to learn as much as possible, because I think that we work in an industry that is evolving really like every
Mm,
minute. Um, and I think it's a lovely, what we do is like a lovely job.
mm,
It's a lovely job. It's beautiful. Yes, you have like a lot of responsibility. It's difficult to learn, but if you have the right approach to this and you put like the right effort,
hmm.
it's a very beautiful job. So I'm really grateful for this.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, I remember you were on a flow party talk, and you've achieved a lot. And even since then, like now you have this master class with awards and very well distinguished and awards and all that. Do you, and you shared that you have major imposter syndrome? Do you still feel that, or is that a little bit more like, you know what, I have achieved some things, and yeah, how do you
Yeah,
handle that? I'm curious.
yeah, I have it for sure. I mean, everyone must have it, but I have like a very huge one. That's why I'm just trying to not think about it, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
for example, like that's like for example, I in the last basically I'm selling like the new term of the masterclass,
Mm,
and every day I have like a big like schedule on Notion with all the posts that I should post like to sell the masterclass,
okay.
and I didn't do that. I have the post already, but I cannot. It's sometimes it's very bad, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love hearing your honest thoughts and opinions on that. Okay, so I think this wraps up the chat segment of the live stream. I want to get to the juicy part where you share your screen and we can give a little preview. So, for those who are listening, Niccol Miranda is also an amazing trainer at the for the Design Gym beta, and he's going to be teaching about Webflow and AI and kind of his processes. So we're gonna have a little bit of a preview, and if you can share your screen and have that prep, and we can just nerd out. This is the fun part. So for those listening on the podcast, we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to listen to the rest or watch the rest of the show, go on YouTube. So, all right. Do you have the screen share
Yeah, absolutely.
available?
So what we are going to do basically like in the next session is like trying like to use like ChatGPT as much as possible in the way that everyone can understand how you can use AI to produce, for example, like shader and fragment shader, and then basically apply it over Webflow. Something that what we can do is like actually like something very easy, simple, but that is going to basically make you understand. Not actually you can produce good result, but actually how you can interrogate ChatGPT in a way that you can take, for example, like that code, use as a starter, and then like carry on with like more like difficult implementation, like like sliders and preloader trigger, maybe like an animation with like a pixelation effect. And actually you trigger something, audio effects, debug, and like leader script, for example, like to disable like the dragging of the image.
Mm,
AI is a very powerful tool to not just like achieve great result, but I think it was also to educate yourself with like code, with design. Is incredible. Is really incredible. I learned a lot in the last like 6 months, and I think that you have like that just like the little curious that isn't like enough to do so. Is very powerful. That's why again I think that AI will not completely replace everyone, but can create actually like new sub branches of like roles and stuff. And if you know how to use that, it's crazy. And
okay.
you also like mentioned inside like the awards talk,
Yes.
and I think that this is important. I think that um, um, for example, like I had this experience with some students that replicate what I showed to the video in the masterclass of awards, and they actually like struggling and say, "But why actually it's not working for me? I did the same. Why?" They really didn't do the same because, for example, like most of them basically didn't have like knowledge of code. You
Mm,
can just use great results in web in ChatGPT or with like any AI if you know the AI. So for example, like the API and how that AI is work, and also if you have like enough like vocabulary and knowledge about what actually you're asking for. That's what changed in general because again, like anybody can use it,
great.
but not everybody can actually like produce great results. And to do that, you need to basically like have knowledge of what you're asking for. And
Okay.
for example, like the result that you can achieve is like something like this. For example, here I create like a very like streamlined like glitch effect by just like using AI without like using like any line of code, and
Mm,
one can be improved. So you can, for example, like add like a GUI. You can improve like the animation. You can make like shorter, longer, and then from there you can take that code, that works, and then you're going to tweaking it and poking around with that shader in order like to apply it anywhere on your website, and maybe like taking like other stuff. For example, after you have that, you can use, for example, like JS transition. It's like a library where you have already like pre-built shader effect for fragment shader that can create like a displacement map. And so is here, if he's loading, he's not loading.
I think because you're on the
Yeah,
stream, it's eating up some bandwidth. Oh,
exactly.
there you
Just
go.
like
Okay.
just when you share something is not never work. Like when you're like trying to that that something, yeah, it's busy there. But yeah, I mean here you have like JL transitions, and so assuming you
Okay.
have like the code that works inside ChatGPT, for example, you can trying to rearrange that shader based on actually what you provide, so you can increase the complexity. You can provide and generate like new code for different functionality. If you need to
Mm,
apply like hover event, maybe like click event, um, This one is like basic stuff, but I mean, can show you in general what's like the potential of AI and what actually we can do with that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you get this code from GL Transitions. Do you copy it, and then what do you do with ChatGPT with that? So kind of walk me through some high
For
level.
example, for example, in this case, what I did is like, for example, like I want to create like a WebGL effect. When I hover over an image, I will use Webflow to create the web page
Oh,
and the
okay.
HTML, CSS. So what I do is instead of like saying, "Hey, ChatGPT, I'm going to provide you like a shader effect," and then I want that actually you create the code for that. It's still not that smart. So
Mm,
I tried this like a lot of times. So I understood that actually it's better if you start with something simple.
okay.
So you create the base, you create like the fundamentals, and then
Hold on. I'm
yes,
just gonna rewind. The first prompt that you actually entered is you defined to the ChatGPT you're
so
a developer GPT, and then so you're kind of putting it, giving it its mindset, the mind frame of that it's a developer. I love that. So
yes,
you set the context, and then you make the request.
yeah, that's like one of the first like trick that you should use. Like with
Mm,
anything that you do, if you need to like edit like also like a legal document, you are
mm,
like lawyer the most advanced that AI lawyer in the world. You are like the most advanced UX writer. So anything that you do, you should like make act ChatGPT as someone,
got it.
and that give at least as soon if I understood like superpower to ChatGPT.
Okay.
Now that was true, like that was really true for like the model 3.5. For the model like the 4 is still like powerful, but it's still something that I do because I mean, I understood that it's changed a little bit of the game. And then you basically start with something simple.
Yep.
Then after this, you're going to tweak it. So I understood this one. And if you actually like you're new to AI, you're new to code, what I would
Okay.
suggest is that you start simple and you actually also like start comment like part of the code,
Okay.
explaining what's like the render, explaining what's like an instantiation of like the orthographic camera in Three.js.
Oh, so you're
So
training the model, basically.
yeah, you train the model.
Yeah.
Because if you train the model of that conversation, it means that
Mm,
also you can train yourself, but you can also like understand him that you need more steps. So from
okay.
now on, it's going to give you like more information that for you is like educational. The more you assimilate and understanding vocabulary and keywords
Hmm.
and function and a constructor and something, the more actually you know the next time, the second time, the third time, you can interrogate better because you have like more knowledge in terms of like keywords.
Okay.
Uh, so
Okay.
that's pretty
Nice.
simple. And then yeah, animation interaction, you go ahead and then you basically you for example you provide the shader that you have, you say okay that's work, now let's go ahead and then you can continue with that, implement like in a new shader for example that you like, and then you implement into Webflow. Yeah.
Okay. So when do you copy and paste that code snippet from GL transition?
uh, like this you
Yeah.
can, and then for example when you're here you scroll all the way down
Yep.
and you go, for example, I like this shader, that produce what produce I remember, yeah, like I guess like a crashed zoom we can call it, I don't know,
Yeah.
something like that.
Like a zoom effect.
Yeah, yeah, I like this like shader effect, that produce, like
Zoom
crashed.
effect. Okay. Crash zoom. Yeah.
Can you please update the JS code by updating the fragment shader? Now, for example, if you go like
Okay.
this and
Uh
you
huh.
don't touch, for example, and you don't include keywords like fragment shader, for example, I can say, I like this code, just update the JS.
Yes.
Then is then is it's going to be like a back and forth between like errors in console and stuff like that. So the
Mm.
more detail,
Specific.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
the
Right.
more actually you spend less time and you produce like better result.
Right. So you need to know like the terms of
Absolutely.
the type of look that you're looking for. So then it
Absolutely.
yeah, you define it, and then it
Yeah.
knows. Okay, then you
That's why
attach
I'm
that
saying,
code.
yeah, that's what I'm
S-
saying, that AI will never like will not replace. Yes, will
Mm,
replace, but not everybody can produce like still
like
like
that.
results if you don't have the knowledge to do so. So it's completely different.
Yeah, and so now you've given it a context, right, of building or creating the code for Webflow as well. Is that right? or not
Exactly.
necessarily? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. But still, I can understand, for example, if I'm new like to Free.js, for example, here, I mean, instead using like the camera, the render,
Mm,
then I set the variable, then basically I pass like the WebGL render like alpha true, and then I set like the pixel ratio. So I'm starting actually not only to elaborate the code, to generate the code, but actually
yeah.
also you can set up a Free.js scene, because how you
Okay.
actually set up like a Free.js scene. So imagine this, like until like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, what I should do, I'm going to YouTube, I'm going to basically like, buy a course like Free Journey by Bruno Simon. I'm trying to understand
Mm,
what's 3ds, I'm trying to understand what's like Fragment Shader. Anyone that start right now doesn't have like code experience, you can do this like in 3 times less of time. It's
wow.
crazy.
So can you
It's
zoom in
crazy.
a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
I like, dude, I know nothing about code, but so if you scroll up a bit, so this is, or go at the very top. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so it's setting up this.
Yeah, this one is like set up like a loader, so like new
Yeah.
variables like loader, default texture, and the over
Mm,
textures, because actually this one have like shoe textures probably in them, because you have like this crash zoom. Then the vertex shader
yeah.
is basically like a type of like shader program that is part of WebGL.
Mm-hmm.
So complementing actually the fragment shader, and it plays the role of basically processing the vertices of the GPU. So
Okay.
that basically the points in the 3D space that WebGL is adding. Then you
Okay.
have actually here the fragment shader that instead is basically what defines basically the final colors. So when basically when rendering 3D graphics on a
Mm,
page using GL, so basically define actually like the real like displacement transition. So for
okay.
example, here you have like this transition here. It's
Okay.
nothing else like a noise. So
Right.
all these transition here are basically like noise
Uh-huh.
made in code, nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So once this is all generated, then what's kind of like the next high level step? Of course,
Then
you kind
actually
of inspect it, make sure it's good. So you copy the code. How do you put
copy
it
the
into Webflow?
so you go in Webflow, for example, you create like a new page here. You
Sorry, could
go, for example,
you narrow your browser? I think it's not making the screen here. You just narrow it a bit.
sorry, Josh, I don't know what means
Oh,
narrow.
just drag the Chrome window and
Oh,
make it a little
sorry,
skinnier.
21.9.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, that's good. That's good. On the right, and then on the left, if you can bring it in just a little bit, that'd be perfect.
Oh yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Perfect. I think it just needs. Yeah, there you go. Good, good, good. Yeah, just a bit to the
Great.
left. Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, like you create like a new scene. For example, like you have like like cap, and then you have like a section,
Yep.
and then for
This is so
example,
good.
yeah, you add like an element inside, and
Mm-hmm.
this element inside is going to so you're going to add like an image. So let's say that you want to have like one single image where you want to apply the effect.
Yep.
So I have this one here. You set, for example, like 40 VW, 30 VW height.
Yeah.
And when you press inside of it, then you basically like add the embed that contains the image.
Right.
Then through JavaScript, what you're going to do is like to create like a canvas over it in the way
Yep.
that when you actually hover it, the displacement effect through WebGL is applied over the image.
Okay.
So here you, for example, like you have like this image here. I'm going to show you actually like this.
This is a great preview for what is ahead for the actual session, the course.
Yeah, here you basically like place the image, and then you have like your CSS, and then inside of the code inside
Okay.
you basically have the JavaScript that actually like ChatGPT produced to us. For example, in this
Okay.
case, is not like actually like include the vertex and the fragment inside the JavaScript, but
Mm-hmm.
it plays it like outside of the viewport. So it's
Yep.
this one that actually like create the displacement and the distortion. Yeah.
Okay. Nuts. Okay, so the image has to be CSS, or it's the
Yeah. Yeah. It's embedded
the
inside
image
the
URL.
HTML.
Okay,
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the code's in the body tag of the page.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. All right, that's cool, man. Any questions, guys? This is crazy. Felixander's saying,
In a few years, it's going to be like how to basically like design rectangles in Figma. I I think, but yeah. So for that reason, I'm trying like.
Yeah. Felixander, he said Niccolò is on another level. Crazy. Dale saying maybe at some point AI Webflow could do a lot of the heavy lifting of code structure based on prompts of desired functionality, styling, and interactions through prompts, allowing for manual tweaking. Yeah, yeah, it's true, right? I think it's knowing what to ask and defining the specific things that you want to do.
They're doing that. I think that they already done the frameworks. They just need to release it. But it's more to, like, for example, like create like a quick stack with like 3 columns and 2 rows, or maybe like something about logic. It's not for creation. It's more how you can basically use the Webflow tool, obviously.
Okay.
But it's cool. It's very cool, I think.
Man, that's nuts. So, any advice for those who want to get into that? Like, any good resources or websites, or just basically play around and ask ChatGPT to tell you
Yeah,
everything?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That's how you learned, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any other questions, guys? I think we're wrapping up on our hour. Man, it's so good the chat. Hour just flew by. That was really
Yeah,
awesome.
it was great, man. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna add the link in the description if you guys want to sign up for the design gym. There is a wait list. There's a few spots left for the beta. We're having 30 people, and yeah, you get the privilege to connect and chat with Niccolò. It'll be a 1 hour session. It'll be something similar to that, but he'll have something a little bit more prepared. It'll be like a back and forth. So you guys, like, he's going to share and do it, and then you try it. And if you have questions, it'll be, yeah, very interactive. So that's going to be fun. Of course, that's just one small area that Niccolò will share amongst his plethora of knowledge from design and everything. So you can take advantage of that. Okay, one question here. We have Ahmed saying, do you have any boilerplates for React? Niccolò?
No, I'm sorry, man. No, because I don't use React. I use Vue.js.
Okay. What do you think
So
about the Webflow dev link feature?
dev dev link feature.
Oh man, it's a beta. It's a beta feature. Basically, you design all the front end code in Webflow, and then you could link it to a React platform database. I don't even know the details, but you can basically build like full on apps, like web apps. And so it's super powerful. So when you update it on Webflow, it'll then connect and update it in like the React platform database, whatever it is. It's nuts.
Are you not talking about the dev mode in Figma?
Yeah, it's
It's
called
not.
DevLink.
No.
I'll try to share the link with you.
Wait. Okay. Okay. Let's
Super
talk about this.
powerful.
Part.
Yeah.
I'm
All right.
interested.
Well, thank you for your time. And Niccolò, I just want to say thank you, man. Like, I just acknowledge you for being outstanding human being and a great friend, and I appreciate you just sharing your knowledge. And yeah, so if you guys are interested,
Thanks
sign
for
up for
having me.
the awards masterclass. Anything else you want to share to people watching? I think that's it. Hey.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I guess.
All right.
All right.
Fantastic. Have a great week, guys. We'll talk to you next time, and yeah, have a good time. Take care. Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye, guys. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao.